Okay, well, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, all good.
Perfect, mate. Perfect. Well, look, I just wanted to jump on the call here and just have a little discussion about your time in headhunting and whatnot. I mean, just generally how's things for you today? You all right?
Yeah, it's been good. Been good. Just making sure I can get some dials out this afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah, keep things moving, you know.
Good man, good man. So look, just wanted to kind of go from the start, right? What was it that actually made you kind of want to get into headhunting and like give it a go in the first place?
I think I knew I wanted to be in sales. I was looking at a couple of different options, and really, I think headhunting, recruitment, it seemed like it had one of the better earning potentials for sure. Especially when I saw the type of deals you were doing, how big they were, and the kind of timescales related to them. I wasn't really seeing anything competing with that. So I knew I had to give it a go. I knew I had to just commit and put some time towards something, and it ended up working out. So yeah, positive from my end.
Nice, nice, man. Cool. And then just to be clear, before you kind of got started with headhunting, did you have any like prior sales experience or recruitment experience or anything related?
Not really at all. I mean, I've never been in sales. I've never done dialing out or anything like that. I'd been working in hospitality, so I knew that people was something I kind of had dealt with before, but never in a sales environment. No.
Cool. Okay, great. And then before you started, obviously you kind of knew a little bit about it from what I was doing, but what would you say your like perception of headhunting? What was your perception of it?
To be honest, I was quite initially surprised that people were paying so much money for an individual candidate, and I did kind of took me a while to understand why these companies didn't just hire them themselves, and the processes that go on behind it. But it really started to make sense. The more that I heard from clients, the more that I spoke to candidates, etc., understood where their value was. The people who we worked with weren't necessarily out there applying for jobs. It's very much of who could be looking for another opportunity, and just finding the right person at the right time became quite apparent. So it was a bit of a learning curve, as anything, but I definitely think that the value became very clear to me very quickly in the end.
Yeah, nice, cool. And anything else come to mind, or like anything that you were like unsure about, or like any like limiting beliefs you had in yourself on if you would be able to like be successful with it?
I think it was a little bit strange, first of all, coming into the construction industry, speaking to industry professionals and people who've spent their lives building a career in this industry versus me who just walked in and is learning the basics. I found that a little bit intimidating in the first instance, but to be honest, the surface level understanding, knowing the right keywords is really all you need to know to kind of get some momentum. And the scripts and stuff really helped as well. And after you've done a few calls, you get a bit of momentum going, and if you have one or two good ones, you start to feel a bit more confident. And yeah, it becomes straightforward. It's like another muscle memory,
Yeah, exactly. Nice, man. And would you say like, because I remember when you first getting on the calls, would you say you were like so nervous doing the calls at the start, or not really?
Big time. I mean, considering this was the first like calling job that I'd had, first experience like really working with people over in the US as well. There were a couple of different aspects that were quite new to me, and I was nervous. It's inevitable to be nervous. But yeah, a couple of calls, as I said, you have a few good ones, and yeah, momentum is a big thing, and yeah, it definitely became a lot easier.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's completely normal to be nervous for your first calls. I remember when I was doing my calls, I was in an office with everyone listening to me, and I was like borderline shaking. But like you do pick it up very fast, and after a couple, like it becomes quite natural. Cool. And then so when you did actually get started, like right at the start, what were you doing for the first couple of weeks?
At first, just building out the CRM. I was focused on Florida, like you said, and yeah, adding lots of potential clients on there, as well as some good candidates. And really, yeah, just adding them to the system, getting a good pool of people to eventually start reaching out to. But I mean, I wasn't really speaking to the clients at first, but speaking to candidates, messaging them on LinkedIn, booking calls, cold calling to, that was the kind of first week activities, I'd say. But yeah, CRM definitely the main one. That was what helped me get a good foothold in the market that I was operating in, and yeah, that was a big one. Spending time doing that in the beginning, I think.
Yeah, nice. And just to be clear as well, right? Like you built that Florida market from scratch yourself, right? My company didn't have any prior traction in Florida. Like that was basically all you.
100%. Yeah, it was all me.
And then when you started doing your like candidate outreach, right? Like obviously meshing with the calls and actually started calling these guys. How long did it take you to actually get that first resume like in your email inbox?
Literally a couple of days, to be honest. I mean, I was doing quite a lot of calls. To be fair, I was probably doing 50, 100 a day, at least at first. I mean, I don't think the resume I got in the first place was particularly great, but good to get the first one. And then once you get that first one, it starts flowing quite well. That little bit of confidence is really comes across on the phone, I think. And yeah, pretty excited. Whenever you see another resume landing in your inbox. And then yeah, after a week or two, I won't say his full name, but I did get Gavin's resume, and yeah, it was that was exciting. Do you remember Gavin?
Yeah, of course I remember Gavin, mate. Yeah, he was a solid guy. And then he was the first guy that you kind of sent him out to the list, right?
Yeah, 100%. He was everything. He was my first shot on goal. Yeah, I think he was an estimator who did some sales as well, so he was kind of quite well rounded. But yeah, I was sending him up to the client list that I've been building. It's got some decent traction, I'd say. Yeah, he was interviewing with a couple of different companies. I think it was maybe three or four in the end, actually.
You set him up with those 3 or 4 companies, right? From when you sent him out to the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So that was, yeah, I mean, that was a nice first opportunity. But yeah, he ended up joining the first one that he interviewed with. So it was a good result. Sometimes you can book things, you give yourself multiple options, but really, the right one is the right one for them. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. It was a win.
Nice. Like, can you remember? I think it was around 20 grand. Can you remember the salary that he got and the fee you had negotiated with the client for what the deal size was?
So it was $90,000 was the salary.
Yeah.
And that took a bit of negotiation to get that up from as well, but it was a result for both sides in the end. And I think we did a 25% flat fee on that one. So yeah, I mean, what about 22 and a half grand?
Yeah, it would have been 22.5. It's 25%. Mate, that is nuts. And just to be clear as well, so this was within like a month of starting, and you've had no prior experience before you got involved, right?
Yeah, it was just over a month, like maybe 5-6 weeks or so. But yeah, it was pretty quick, 100% quicker than I was expecting. It was, yeah, first time in sales. I mean, it felt pretty good. It felt pretty good to be seeing numbers like that. And obviously, it's just about using that momentum was big for me, and carrying on from there. But yeah, I was pretty happy.
Yeah, that's a very, very solid first month. So that was obviously month 1. That's not bad at all. And then you did another deal pretty soon after that as well, right?
Yeah, it was the next month. It was a little bit smaller this time because I think that the candidate was only working part-time in the end. So the fee was like 9 grand, maybe just over a little bit, but slightly different contract setup and stuff with the part-time. But if someone wants a candidate and they're willing to pay, then it's a deal, right? So yeah, so another nice win. It's, as I said, like, momentum, I think, is really at the core of this whole process. Even if it's that slight edge of confidence that you have, that comes across so well on the phone when you're speaking to clients, when you're speaking to candidates, and I think it's really something to try and make the most of.
Agreed. That's for all business and sales as well, right? Momentum is so key. And then that second deal you did, so you did the 22.5K one, then a month later you got the 9K one through the door. That was the part-time. There was 2 different clients as well, right? So you were able to replicate the same process with the first client, same process with a new client, and both deals you got done from basically specking out these candidates.
Yep. Different client, also in Florida. But yeah, good to have a couple of different.
Yeah.
Building out the client base is nice, and to be able to establish those relationships early on as well is really good.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. So that's two clients signed and 2 deals done in your first 2 months. And just like in terms of the training side of things, how did you find like working with me, my training, how I explained everything, the kind of strategy you were following? Like, how was all of that for you?
Yeah, honestly, mate, it was class. Did throw me in the deep end a little bit, but in terms of getting on the phone early and speaking to people from pretty much day dot, I'm glad we did it that way. Being a fast learner is good, and it was definitely the environment that I could learn quickly in. It's
Yeah.
recruitment's fast paced, onto the next, and every single call you do, you learn a little bit more. So that was a big one. I really felt like how I was given the opportunity to dial in straight away and learn the hard way, and learn in the deep end was very important to to how I ended up doing. It was to the success that I had. It came from that, I think.
Cool. And how did you find, like, obviously the main thing I had you doing was the candidates, getting that candidate and specking them out, like sending them to that list. How did you find that side of things? Did you find that worked quite well for you?
Yeah, I mean, finding that solid candidate, approaching the clients with the candidate, it works. It's as simple as that. Finding someone who's looking for something and give him that, right? That's the job. Yeah, it gives you something to talk about as well with other clients, rather than just pitching your services. It was a good structure. Appreciate it.
Nice. Cool. Then just for people who are, considering getting started with the headhunting agency, maybe on the fence about whether or not they should jump into it, what would you say to these people?
I'd say go for it. Give it a chance. You definitely need to be prepared to put in the work. Like nothing good comes easy in life. I'd say 3, 4, 5 hours a day. It is a good opportunity, and you can pick it up very fast with the right amount of effort. And to be fair to you, the sort of training that we were doing and the strategy, it made everything clearer and felt very directed, and that was reassuring to me. Coming into a kind of startup style company, there were some hesitations about where the company was going and stuff, but numbers don't lie. 2 months in, things like that start happening. You start worrying about very different problems quite quick. So it taught me a lot. It was really good.
Yeah. So what car you're going to buy? I remember you and me on Auto Trader looking at different cars.
I was addicted to Auto Trader for a long time.
Yeah, totally got it, mate. Cool. Well, mate, honestly, I think that's all I need from you. I appreciate you kind of jumping in the call and like giving some insight on your experience. You obviously smashed it. And it sounds like you're still smashing it now. So congrats on all the success, mate. And yeah, I appreciate you jumping on here with me.
Yeah, no, been a pleasure. Thank you for everything, Charlie. And yeah, give it a go. You never know.
Awesome. Cool. Appreciate it, man. See you later, Will.
Thank you.
Sweet.